members. So we do have two presenting. So I'm going to start with Josie Ludwig from Solpoint. So Josie is an experienced management accountant and business advisor with a lot of experience in many unusually complicated and day-to-day accounting, corporate structures and GST matters, and is currently running a successful firm, as I mentioned, Solpoint, specialising in systemising business accounts, admin functions, and providing efficiency and saving costs to clients. And I will pass it on to her so she can give you a really good understanding of what she does and such an important thing to be looking at in this climate as well. Thank you. Let's welcome Josie.
Thanks, Anna. Rather than do my normal presentation on our business, which I think most of you know, but what I was going to do was offer whether you wanted to talk about some of the JobKeeper program or the stimulus ideas and things that you can do for your business right now to get through these tough times. We've been dealing with our clients on a large scale to obviously help them determine their eligibility and things like that. So is anyone wanting to, I was just going to take a vote if we wanted to talk about the JobKeeper or other stimulus and ideas to help your business through. Can I take a vote on JobKeeper? Put your hand up if you want to talk about JobKeeper. I've got Jim. If you want to talk about other stimulus other stimulus ideas and ideas to help your business through, I've got 3 votes. 4, 5, 6. Okay, we're going with the others. Okay, and what I was thinking is I'll just do that quickly, but then also take some questions. So if anyone has really a lot of questions, I wanted to give you a good opportunity to ask a fair whack of questions so that you can just maybe get some quick answers or at least guidance where you can get them. So let me just share the right screen if I can actually see that on here with this tiny writing. Here. Hang on. Did that work? Can everyone see the coronavirus assessment sheet? Okay, I'm just going to make you all little so I can see it. All right, so what, this is just our assessment we did with our clients. So there's quite a number of areas to go through with the stimulus package. Obviously, this is a boring form to look at, but I'll just speak to it. The equipment or other purchases. So at this time, might not be the best time you might want to buy equipment, but however, if you do have plans for coming out of the coronavirus, and that's going to involve some additional equipment, it is a good time to buy because during this time you have got some extra incentives as tax write-offs to purchase equipment so that you get the immediate tax benefit of that in your tax return for 2020. And 2021 if you want to do it after June, but obviously you get it sooner if you do it this financial year. It's probably not necessarily the best incentive for small, medium businesses because we probably want to keep the cash flow, but if you can get funding as well on that, you can probably get some good funding deals on that as well at the moment to help you through. And that comes along with also some accelerated depreciation for larger items that you've purchased in the past. So if you've got some other items on your balance sheet that you'll depreciate, that will just reduce your taxes for this year, so that you've got more cash flow that you know is going to be there in the future. So, or profit you're going to retain in the future. So I think that's an important thing to remember. It's a more of a long-term strategy, but it does give you some confidence to at least then know what you can spend now. So you know that you will have less tax to pay in the future. You can then have the confidence to spend now. The PAYG rebate, so people who have employees, if you haven't lodged your March BAS, the important thing is to actually lodge your March BAS. This will automatically give you the PAYG rebate. It doesn't mean that you have to pay your BAS. You still can access deferrals on paying your BAS, and make sure that you like engage with the tax office so that you've got those things. But if you lodge your March BAS, you will automatically start applying that rebate, and that rebate will be refunded to you in creation of a credit. So it's important to get your lodgements up to date if you've got the PAYG element, so if you've got staff, or if you've even got yourself on as an employee, that would be helpful because you'll automatically get that. And it's a minimum of $10,000. So it's actually a pretty good win. If you were looking for apprentice and trainee wages, there's support to be gained in there. I'm not going to go into too much detail because it is an extra expense though that you've got to fund, but there is some good wage support you can get with that. So it's a lot more than what the usual support is. So that's another area if you wanted to get some help to maybe build your business and do some work now to get ready, or have them ready to go, obviously, once you come out of this stage. So some of this is just assessments for our staff to do. So a big thing at the moment is also to just run through your bank account, check for direct debits. It's actually something we try to sort of go through regularly with our clients from time to time at least, to tell them to go through their direct debits and just check, do you actually need all those things that are popping out of your bank account? Because we tend to set them up and forget them. And if you forget about them and you're not using them, then it's just a cash flow drain and it's a waste of money at this time when you don't want to be wasting a cent. So I'll definitely go through your direct debits and check for anything you can just lop off and stop paying for. Or maybe you just want to reduce some of the levels. Maybe you've got software, you've got premium level, maybe you don't need quite premium for this time. You can maybe stop that for 6 months and go back to it later if you're not utilizing all of those premium features. So that might also save you some money. So supplier terms and negotiating. So as much as we want to pay everyone equally and be fair, we also have to make sure we can survive through. So if you are having cash flow issues, then perhaps negotiating with your suppliers and just drip feeding. So paying them over time. So don't throw all of your money out the door at once when you're uncertain about necessarily what's going to come in again. So just be a bit careful with your money, and not to say not to pay people, but just try to negotiate where you need to extend out your lifespan and cash flow so that you can just survive until you know you're going to get funds in, or can get a is anyone else hearing that crazy noise like a jackhammer?
I can hear it.
That is it Dave? It's Dave. I just muted him. Hope that's okay, Dave. Sorry. All right, so what else have we got? We've got also, if you do have employees and they aren't working.
1 minute left.
All right, okay. Well, I might stop then. I'll just run through quickly. Operationally, changing your business to operate remotely, change your walk-in business to an appointment style with strict hygiene and protection, and make sure you communicate that to your customers. Speak to Chris and others that know how to communicate this stuff to your customers to get the message out there. Can you sell your stock online? How would you make deliveries? There's the government loan guarantee. So if you are trying to access loans, the banks are being told to help out as much as possible. There is hotlines with each of the major banks that you can ring to get loans. I might have to send this, guys, to you if you want it, so you can go through all of the items. There's a lot here because I'd really like to take questions about either the JobKeeper or other packages. The other big one is the $10,000 grant from the state government. We've done that for quite a few customers. We're seeing people getting that. They're not too strict about it, so I would be asking for that $10,000 grant. Just jump in and do the application. It's not necessarily that difficult, so it's definitely something to access. All right, I'm going to throw 2 questions and figure out how we do that.
I have a question.
Yes, Elizabeth.
Thanks very much for that, Josie.
Okay.
How long is the credit on your BAS for PAYG? How long is that scheduled to be in for?
So there's a maximum of $100,000. So it's $50,000 from January to June. So if you've got PAYG of up to $50,000 within that 6 months, you'll get the full $50,000. If you have then further PAYG from June to September, you can get another up to $50,000 then. So the total is 100,000. But I think the important thing actually for a lot of us is that the minimum is 10. So if you've got PAYG, so if you've just got yourself on the payroll and you've got PAYG, you'll get a minimum of $10,000 to help out. So that's an important one.
Thank you.
No worries.
So with the state government grant, I applied for that, and I know a couple of other recruiters that applied for that, and we all missed out, even though we have staff. Because they looked at the girl when I phoned up and said why. She was like, well, recruitment, because you can go online and do interviews, it's not considered effective. That might be one reason. And the other reason was that my business is down 79%, and she said she thinks it's 80% you've got to be down.
Seems a bit arbitrary, because we've had people who are in far less dire straits than yourself have received the grant. So that's,
I think it's
at least something to argue. So don't be afraid to also argue it. So we've been arguing with the State Revenue Office for weeks now on the payroll tax. So there's also payroll tax refunds. Everyone's entitled to get their full year's payroll tax refund. There's so much going on, but the payroll tax refunds, they had made a stipulation that it's under $3 million. We had a client that won't make the $3 million, but normally they would, but they're only going to be like $2.5 million, and the State Revenue Office is going by their estimates, and they refuse to acknowledge the fact that everyone's on stand down, they're not working, and the fact that it's not going to reach 3 million because they're only at 2 at the moment. So they're just not going to. But so they're waiting until after June. But we just argued with them until the point where they've at least agreed to acknowledge in writing that we're going to get it. So it just might take a bit of argument, Shay, with them.
So we continue arguing, because I spoke to the lady yesterday after waiting half an hour on the phone. I might email them back and say, can you please give me a reason why?
Yeah, I would pursue it further in your circumstances for sure.
Okay, thanks.
Anyone else got any particular questions about maybe JobKeeper as well? No? Just a note for JobKeeper, if you are a director or active participant, that you can also receive the JobKeeper. Is anyone accessing that at the moment as an active participant, getting the JobKeeper?
Yeah,
No?
I've applied for it as the director of the company.
Yeah.
Because none of my temps actually qualify for it.
Yeah. Is anyone unsure whether they qualify for JobKeeper or not, but are feeling the strain?
Yeah, Josie, as running my own business as a company, but it's I'm me, and I have others that come into the play as I need. So I'm self-employed, but can I get it myself even though I'm not PAYG?
Yes, that's right. So yes, there's a provision for one active participant, which is a director, a partner, a adult beneficiary of a trust. There is one other, but it's lost my mind. But basically, yes, as an active participant in your own business, if you're not on PAYG, you can still access JobKeeper, assuming you meet the eligibility of the entity, being that it's dropped 30% in income.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah. Also,
comment to add on to what Josie said is that in the leasing space, because of a lot of cafes and gyms and whatnot that are closed, I'm currently dealing with a client who runs a massage business. I haven't inquired about the legitimacy of that, but even if you're running a they're basically completely shut. So, but to trigger the protections, if you like, for the leasing principles where landlords are required to reduce the rent and give deferrals or waivers, you must be in receipt of the JobKeeper. So not only eligible, but also participating in the program. So that's an important one to remember.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, we're being asked to prove the JobKeeper enrolment for the sake of the commercial tenancy reductions and deferrals. So yeah, that's a tricky one as well sometimes with some businesses who are dead but don't necessarily have that. But definitely using the active participant method will give you that. The other one major thing I wanted to note about the assessment for your eligibility. For instance, you might think, well, I'm still I'm still getting income or cash into my bank right now. But that might be for activity that you did. I'm probably maybe thinking of you, Zeno, 3-4 months ago. I mean, you might not qualify, but just as a good example, a real estate agent might have earned their income 3 to 6 months ago when they've sold a property, and then they may be receiving commissions later. The turnover test is based on your GST turnover test. It's not even cash or accrual basis, meaning like what you would record in your accounting. It's actually based on when you earned the income. So if you earned the income 6 to 3 months ago, but right now you don't have leads and sales, then you can assess your eligibility based on right now I'm not making sales, so therefore I have dropped by 30%. So it's important that if you are thinking about you're not eligible, but you might feel the pinch of the cash flow or the income later down the track because you can't do as much now, even if you're earning the income from the past. You can think about different ways to assess your income, or think about how you assess your income is when you earned it, not when you get it. Okay, so that's an important one because we've got some business owners who are not really recognizing that they're eligible or could be eligible or even in trouble because they're still earning their income cash flow in from prior periods. But what's happening is they're not really operating that well now. They're not making sales, or they don't have as many leads. So therefore that issue is going to hit them maybe in 3 months' time or in 6 months' time, which you'll still be eligible, but realistically you're dead in the water now. So that's another big one to think about if you're sort of not sure or on the fence.
Josie, thank you so much. I'm going to have to stop you there. Yep. I thought it was a good thing to let you go because it is relevant to everyone here. So it was really important to give you that bit of extra time. Now,